Broadcast live.
Gigi Lamayne, how you doing?
You?
Check the
Just
outfit
mind
out here. You know, this is where you show your outfit.
Hey, this is where I show my outfit.
This is where you show your outfit. You know what I mean?
Artists and all.
You know, they must understand.
Yes. I'm so excited for this. People get to see my outfit.
Yeah, let me see your
Yes.
outfit properly. You know? How you doing, G?
I'm good. How are you? Nice to see you.
Good seeing you. I mean, it's long overdue.
Yeah.
You know? I
Yeah.
mean, I was going through like your projects, I was like, yo, man, G got catalog, like people have posts on Instagram. You know what I mean?
I try. I love the studio.
Yo.
The studio is my happy place.
You've dropped a whole album and then you hit us with another single after that. I mean, what are you discovering about yourself with all this creation? You know what I mean? And it almost felt like it wasn't justified to talk about just the album with you because you so many things, you know. And I just feel like it feels like you keep discovering things about yourself the more you record. What phase are you on in your discovery?
I think the problem comes when you start traveling and you're just like mixing with other artists and you get to learn about different sounds. And my current number one is Burna Boy. Like I think I'm the ultimate Burna fan. Like when the tickets came out some time ago, I think I was like the first person to get on that. But I think just world music is my new target. I'm not getting any younger. The parents are now asking the weird questions and they want grandkids. So I think I'm just trying to make music that's like still fun, but it's the kind of music that I'd want my children to listen to, funny enough. But I think I'm starting to like mentally nest, but I'm also like starting to travel a lot and meet new people. And I think I was just held down by my own, insecurities. And I think I finally believe that I'm the girl I think I am.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I mean, Set in Stone, even the title, I guess, it's almost like saying, I ain't going nowhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm part of history. I'm making history. I ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
What's the revelation that got you to that point to say, actually, fuck it?
I think I've been consistent. I think I've had quite a turbulent career. I've had the record label initiations. I've felt independent life that I'm enjoying a lot, and I think it's just that it was 360 with my career. I could battle, I could freestyle. I used to do Gandhi Square. I used to get snuck into Slikour. And I'm not even 30 yet. So I just think that it was almost like if there was an Olympics for a hip hop artist and you needed somebody to be the female, I think I would be a great contender, just because I felt I worked with Pro, may his soul rest in peace, and then I could still work with a blackie, So I think it's just like solidifying the fact that, I probably am hip hop. And I think that's why I've also kind of being no punyuga, like I'd go and try like a different genre, but just made sure that hip hop texture was still there, just to challenge myself. So it's like kind of set in stone that I am hip hop. This is where I come from. It's a whole 360 thing, and there's really nothing I haven't experienced when it comes to hip hop. Maybe the only things I can't do are like graffiti and like skateboarding, but yeah.
I think from a South African context, you definitely. Like if there was Jews and school fees, you know what I mean? I think from a South African context, you definitely tick all the boxes of all those steps. And it's rare to find artists working today who are actually, even in hip hop, I mean, because of age also. But like, it's rare to find people who can say, oh, Slikour is also.
Yeah.
And be in this position that you are in. Oh, I worked with Pro also. Oh, I worked with Cooley also. Someone reminded me that like you were actually also signed by Ambitiouz. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm so glad you brought that up because I just like there's something I need to like just clear the air on. And I think a lot of people wondered like how I left and, why it was like just such a clean, thing. And I think it's because, there's a business music is a business, and I think I understand how, Ambitiouz operates, and going in there was almost like to just like, because I was at Mabala, got transferred to Ambitiouz. The record label owners knew each other very well. So being able to...
Mabala and
I felt like a soccer player at that point. Like,
yeah. I like Sony and Universal.
Thank you. Like, it's just like,
great.
So I was the soccer player at that time. And like, kudos to him, man, at Ambitiouz. I think he taught me a lot. I think it's very easy to slander, the label that you're from. And everybody always says like, oh, why aren't you like talking rubbish about them? But I feel like I learned so much. I mean, he's somebody who believed that I could like sing.
Yeah.
He's somebody who challenged me a lot. And fact of the matter is I learned a lot from him. And the journey wasn't all rosy, but I'm just glad that he's a phone call away and I am too. And, even when he sees stuff in the newspapers or whatever, he'll like call me and be like, yeah, I'm really proud of you, So yeah, I just wanted to get that out of the way because I've heard a lot of people tweeting like, oh, why doesn't she ever say what really happened?
Yeah.
And it was just a clean thing, guys. Like, you're allowed to leave one job for another or quit your job and start your own company.
Yeah.
And he always would say, like, when you're done with music, can you come work for me? Because half the time I was creating my own, like, I'd pitch to him what I wanted my project to look like and the rollouts and stuff like that. And I just really appreciate that he believed in me so much so that he would like just still call me and say, you're doing well.
Yeah. But I mean, that's interesting. I actually forgot that you had when I think of Mabala, I think about like, damn, these guys signed a whole soccer team. You know
I'm
what I mean?
telling you.
I just have that one picture where like Reggie's in the middle and there's so many people. But I mean, for you guys, the transfer, for that to happen, why was the jump from Mabala to Ambitiouz? Why didn't you... Because at the time, you left early. You left before everybody was leaving, right? Why was it even necessary to move from there to there?
I think once again, like the men at the top at Mabala knew how I was very hungry, very like diligent, and for me it was always like, the boys were getting all the stuff. Like, how did the boys get a Tiger feature? And I'm still chilling there waiting for mine. And that's on record. And I always tell them, I'm like, I'll never forgive you guys. That you guys did me dirty. Like, and then Du Bois got the Tiger feature. And I was just like, okay, so as a female, I must still beg. Like, how much more must I rap? Like, how many, and it was just, I felt at some point, shout out to Du Bois, it's mad love, but I do think I deserve the feature.
I mean, it's fair,
more. I really do. I've put in a lot of work. And, at that point, I kind of had a conversation with him where I was just like, I'm not going to be back burner. Like, I'm not going to be back burner. And even going to Ambitiouz, I knew
Shout out to Burner Boy. Carry on. Since we are rapping, back Burner Boy.
But since, I really was so in love with the music, I was willing to go to Ambitiouz, even though I knew there were money problems, but I knew at least they were going to push me properly. Whereas with Mabala, it was always like such a struggle to even get in there. And I mean, I don't particularly agree with everyone who was working at the Mabala office, I believe that the founder had, the kind of ideals, but the execution was mad stupid. The people who, like, some of them knew nothing about music and the business of music and a lot of things, algorithms, and it was ridiculous. And I think I was just getting annoyed. Like you're in grade 8 and you're telling the grade 12 student how to, like it's annoying.
How to wear a tie.
Yeah, so Mabala, I think that's really what happened. I just didn't want to be led by people who kind of knew nothing.
Yeah. That's crazy. Obviously, not everybody knows what happens, and I always say the industry is one of those places where I always say like, the industry is like particularly the music industry, it has the best face beat. You know what I mean?
Trust me.
But when you wake up with it the next morning, you kind of, you kind of see that, wait a minute. That's all and by the time you're waking up with it the next morning, you've already signed a contract because it's like committing, right? You don't sleep with anybody in a normal world. You don't sleep with anybody unless and that's it in a normal world. I'm just saying.
Yes, of course.
Unless you are saying that, there is some type of commitment. You know what I mean? In that, a lot of things that have happened for you from from you even started moving according, and like this is the thing about you, you're such a South African from an hip hop perspective, where you were slachasing, you were pro kidding, you were with the labels that like have got a reputation, South African labels that have a reputation that's involved with some type of political stuff. Like it's a South African story.
I'm telling you.
It's a South African story.
I'm telling you.
And then one day you go, okay, now I got a calling.
I didn't do that.
No, well, I mean, you know what I mean. You know what I mean?
So my mom is originally from Zim, and we actually come from a long lineage of healers.
Yeah.
So some Zimbos like Umachu Mbungwe, like a few people know him, and he was my great grandfather.
Okay.
And my great grandmother was a mujaji from a place called Njelele, Wabulawayo, in Matebeleland. And it just so happened that they were just like weird things happening to me. And at the time, I mean, I'm an activist for, mental health. Yeah. So I was a bit worried about like what was really happening, because a part of it felt like maybe I'm losing it. I don't really know what's going on. And they were just, out of respect for the calling, just strange things that were happening with me at home, where I had to go, like, leave my apartment, come back to live with my mom in the South. And, then all these secrets start coming out about who you are, where you're from, what practices were like, and, lots of things, lots of stories that come out. And I was very upset. I didn't want to go. I was like... there were lots of things. And then there was like a little bit of a near-death experience that I think everyone kind of like remembers, that made news, and everyone was worried about me. And at that point, like, things just started coming to light, a lot of things. At the time, I was in a very, very like hectic, toxic relationship. So in jail, everything was like just a lot. And I think when the world quietened down, during COVID, that's when I was just like, okay, I kind of dreamt of this man from KZN, and I looked for him. Luckily, he was in KZN because I thought he was actually in Zim. And I went and I fulfilled my calling. And yes, I did dream of him, stayed there for some time and then came back. But I don't really... I mean, I started practicing, after you're done, you kind of practice for a certain amount of time, and then you kind of ask for that... guys, please give me, like, I'm actually like, I'm this, so if you guys can just, and then I carried on with the music. But it had been something that had always been in our lineage. And being a, Joburg girl, you grew up in Joburg, you go to the rural areas during Christmas or whatever, nobody really tells you about that side. So I am very spiritual. I'm definitely a traditionalist. And it's more really by birthright. Yes, it was a gift, but birthrights, I must see go. But I am still a firm believer in God. I believe that ancestors are guardians, and God is obviously Uvelingani. And after that, I won't lie, there was a lot of order. Things just aligned. Things just happened for me. And I think a lot of people who know me would see the difference.
Yeah, I mean, for me, what was crazy, oh shit, Gigi, goddamn, your life is deep, man.
I love it!
Before I was like, must I listen to the... I listened to the album, must I base it? But I was like, but nah, Gigi, he's a library of shit,
Oh,
it's a library, it's a library of things. And, and with all, I mean, and we're going to speak with the utmost respect, Now that it hit me also, when you talked about, I remember the hospital incident, you know what I mean? I remember, I think I might have tried to get a hold of you. I don't remember.
You did try,
I mean, with so much that has happened, of similar incidences, and I guess, some people probably it's their time, you were spared, When you hear these stories, I mean, we just lost Dumi like this weekend, you know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, earlier on it was Ricky, there's just been so many more other people that literally have taken their lives into their own hands, What does that trigger as a person who's walked that journey? Because I have a saying, please live your life and don't threaten us about you going to take your life if you're not going to do it. I don't threaten us because we're all going through things.
Absolutely.
And it takes, and you know what? Let me tell you something. The guy who does commit, that means that guy literally like, he is bold, right? So why don't you be bold about life and stop being in the middle and trying to
absolutely
threaten us with this.
Yeah.
You did it, but it never happened. It never. I don't know if the word is worked. You know what I mean?
I know.
What do you feel though when you see like when it's happening and it's just really come to the surface now and it's what are some of the things that sensitivities that you think people should have? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think for one, you're absolutely right. Like you I'm not like I'm encouraging it, but it's like it's crazy because I had a conversation with Ricky, and this is actually the first time I'm speaking about it, and how everything just seemed perfect, right? The deals were coming in. He was like in such a good place, and the honest truth is that we're all going through something. And I think for me, it was to be very comfortable in the quiet. And sometimes the quiet isn't, kind of subscribing to social media and subscribing to, all these different things that are happening around you. And that's a very difficult thing. Like, it's like I'm just saying it, but it's a very difficult thing to do on the daily when we live on social media and there's not necessarily an address to somebody's house to go and I don't know, confront them.
Yeah.
But it is a very dark space. But then I would also say that, it is easier when you speak because that is a cry for help. It is easier when you speak and you don't have to like do it and broadcast it on social media. But I would just say people need to be more empathetic and, willing to listen. And my biggest issue is like around the male child. Like Dumi is the male black child, rather. Let's give him more of a, an identity and how he always needs to be strong. Like he can't cry, he can't talk to anyone. Sometimes he's accused of gender-based violence and, even if the girl like backs down or was lying, the girl isn't dealt with. And my biggest prerogative right now, aside from the music, is to just get the black boy child talking more. It's a very difficult space to be in, South Africa, the context and what you need to be as a man. And it really pains me that we are not, talking about that more. There is clearly an issue here, and the black boy child he is the source of a lot of things, and he has taken up the space. Like he's either a criminal, he's a wife beater, but nobody's really willing to listen to him. Even like just isolated from me, I think that's why Dumi and Ricky's situation for me is like triggering, but in a different way.
I mean, obviously, it is triggering. It triggers us all in a different way. But one always wonders, for someone who actually also walked the path, but never completed, like,
I regret it. I regret it. I regret it for my mother. That's it. Maybe if I had kids, I would have, but I regret it for my mom. Besides the fact that it's excruciating, it's very painful physically, just how she looked that day. And I think that's why I can never say sorry enough to her. I can never completely, repent from that situation. And I wouldn't say, like you said, there's like boldness in certain things and there's weakness in certain things, but she's just given so much of her life to make sure I am who I am. And as a single mother and seeing her go through all these things, I felt very selfish, once I had come out of it and I had committed that I will never, and every time, it's crazy because when I heard about the Dumi situation, my producer was like, don't ever, and I was like, dude, I could never. I think there's also something in that near-death experience that has nothing to do with the rest of the world, but, to do with a mom who will genuinely love you in your dark times, where I never want to see that look on her face ever again.
I mean, your mother's also got her own life. She passes. It can't just be about her.
Yeah, true. But then I'm going to have babies. I think I'm just... I know Kelani went through that. And there's just something that changes when you survive. Purpose, you start to reevaluate purpose. And as soon as that happened, I mean, now we give talks around the country with the Slikour Wellness Program. And there's also, I'm healing while I'm trying to heal other people. And that for me feels great. But there's a newly found purpose I have. I never used to talk about babies. Yeah. I don't want babies. And now I want a little baby.
I mean,
so yeah.
You know, I speak as you know, the stuff comes back to me, you know. I mean, I know Dumi. I mean, I know his energy, you know.
Yeah.
You know, his manager calls me or sent me a message at night, you know. And I don't think I've really met his manager like
properly,
like you know, so these virtual conversations of, you know, and he's broken, man. He's just so broken, you know. And like, you know, I mean, I'm not even going to talk about my feelings for Rick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know other kids are going to try this.
Yeah.
It breaks me, like it really, really breaks me, and I mean, I think I need you to say something, Gigi. That like, because say something to discourage these. You know, you know, people are like, yeah, I know, but I'm just the guy I've never tried that. I don't believe in it. It's not something I think I would do. So I'm not the guy to tell a guy who thinks like that. You know what I mean? You know, you must know your place. You must know where you can OG. You know, I can't OG for a guy who has that type of boldness, right? Or a girl. I can OG for a guy who has this drive, because I'm from nothing and I've been here. I'm here because of drive. So I can really talk and inspire because of drive. The driven, I can inspire the driven. You know, I can encourage the driven when they feel like they're failing, like their dreams are not happening, or because I've gone through that too. But I can't OG the guy that goes, I can't do it anymore. You know what I mean? But you can, you know? And I mean, I'm gonna move from it. I just want you to say, I know you say, just speak from, please give me a message for all these kids out here, the girls, the guys, that are just like, it's gonna be so much harder for them because of no work, because of this economy, you know, and it's not their fault, you know, it's the country that it's gonna be so much more harder for these kids. And just finding a way, they're gonna just see this incredible success of an Uncle Waffles, and those things are not in small pockets, and they're gonna literally try be that, and it's gonna be so hard, and it won't be easy, and it's gonna be so hard for them to know what is really their calling. G, I need you to just give a message, you know. You OG, I'm saying, I'm speaking to you as my principal right now.
Yes.
In that, you know what I mean? That's it, you know.
I think for most of it, I'm trying to be as emotionless because I'm not going to finish. I think suicide is I've always kind of said suicide and depression feel like very human-like, you know? When it comes around, it's like a very, very toxic friend, toxic energy, toxic spirit. I liken it a lot to a spirit because, you know, sometimes it comes in harder than usual. But the honest fact is that I keep saying that our parents' struggles will never be like ours. You know, our struggles are economical. Our struggles are social. I mean, look at the war on social media. We wake up every other day and somebody who looks just like me is slandered. In November last year.
Before you go there.
Yeah.
our parents' struggle was economical, but they never had a promise.
Yes.
Ours is economical, but a promise is coward. The
Yes,
promise, the
yes.
hope is
Absolutely.
what breaks us. But
Absolutely.
continue.
The promise is what breaks us. And I've learned to stand alone. I've learned to stand alone because it's crazy at how your environment and the people you're with add to that feeling at that moment. And purpose is everything. You know, I've had people call me ugly. I've had people say the worst things about me and to me. Somebody even said, I don't understand how Gigi Lamayne does it because Twitter is like, I am such an easy target. And I've had to learn about purpose. I've had to learn that being alone doesn't mean I'm lonely. But I've also had to learn that that man, that spirit, that woman, whatever you want to refer to, being depression and suicide cannot win because I have given up and I have practically destroyed a whole legacy I was trying to build in the first place. I want people to always remember me, and I'm giving this advice because it's easier when I speak as myself.
Yeah.
As the girl who got hit so many times and got back up. Social media has thrown the ugliest eggs at me. I have had people I have begged for features who refused to give to me, who are like my idols. You know, I have had to be rejected because I didn't look a certain way. I have had to take from the leftovers at the table. As much as I was worthy to be at the table, I had to always take from the leftovers and be okay with it. So until you find your purpose as an individual and you're okay with being alone, you will find that it's so much easier to attract people who follow and love you. The day I decided that I was going to block out industry, listen, I am committing to this because it's industry, it's work. I'm committing to this because there's a point where the noise needs to be blocked out because the noise comes in with the depression, the expectation. I can never be what somebody else is. And I need to be okay with that. I need to be okay with the fact that this is my war. And I always say people who get depressed and who feel suicidal, it's always because you feel like you're not doing enough. That's the biggest thing. Like you're looking at your friends and I could never do as well as, and this is with all due respect, like I cannot believe like there are power circles that exist within the entertainment industry. My mother is a nursing sister from Zimbabwe, She skipped generations of poverty to be here. And she was fighting on the front lines for COVID. Is that not a legacy I need to carry on? Now she's watching me on TV and her fate was that she was going to die of HIV out in a rural area in Zimbabwe. You need to be okay with the fact that you're not going to be like the cool kids who are connected. Because the honest truth is that some kids are just more connected than others. I have survived this long in the industry because of merits, because I'm able to put together a proposal. I may not have been pretty enough, but when I speak to delegates into government, they listen. And that's my superpower. Name a female rapper who can sit at the same table as Minister Natim Tetwa and tell him something amazing. Name any rapper, very few, who can actually speak for the kids. And I had to realize that that was my purpose. My purpose is to show people that you can skip generations of poverty. I used to take Metro bus to school. My mother struggled to take me to school as a nursing sister. She worked Parakwana night shift. She did all that. And here I am today. So if that's not a story, then what is it? How can I let depression win with such a beautiful story that this woman created all the way back in the 60s? Can't. And once you begin to question your purpose and being okay with the fact that you're not like the others, you find that depression is a very little monster to kill. I'm not on meds. I refuse to get on meds. I don't take meds for depression. And that's because I spiritually charge by energies, the sun, the wind, the air, just music, the type of music I listen to. I hardly have any cussing music on my phone anymore, and I'm hip-hop. And that's because the music I listen to now brings me peace. Burna Boy brings me peace. So you need to find what your purpose is. You need to be okay with the fact that your superpower is actually in what you lack. And that becomes your drive.
In what you lack. Not in what you have, what you lack.
What you lack, absolutely. Because I know that I'm not conventionally as pretty as the next girl. I'm going to make sure I have that catalog of music you're talking about. I'm going to make sure that I am using my social media to raise awareness about depression and suicide. I'm going to use what I lack as a tool to push myself more. What is depression?
And the idea that you like it is also your perception.
Your perception, society's perceptions. Society's perceptions. When I looked in the mirror as a young girl, I thought I was the prettiest thing alive. Till I got onto social media. So was it really about me? Block out the noise, focus.
When I was speaking with Tumi's manager, he just talked about how it's the same thing, where it's like the appreciation, the lack of appreciation, and he just talked about how, it seems like it's something he's been talking about for a while, and he was just like, look, if I do this, everybody's gonna come out and go, Tumi was this, Tumi was that, as if they were homies, And I don't know, we can, people do talk, but maybe people also don't pay attention. Or maybe people also talk to the wrong people, You said you have a word for that, when the industry comes out.
Clout grief. They start searching for pictures. Pictures taken such a long time ago. You haven't heard from them in a minute. And everyone is just, the last time I spoke to you and the last time you said this and that. And, I've seen it happen with so many people. Some people even use it as PR now. So, I don't know. I just think there's an infatuation with the moment when it happens, but nobody's talking about the source, once again. That this is a young male, young black child in music. There was clearly something wrong.
The things that you're also saying to me, with all respect, they also don't sound like things that you would be saying, right? Because you also in a relationship with a male in the industry, may you so rest in peace, where there was tension and there was conflict and everything else. But for you to also kind of not take what you've gone through personally, and go, there's actually a problem with the black male in the industry and the expectations of the black male in the industry. Whether they should be, because they're performing, or they've got so many streams. You got 50 million streams, but you do this number of vanity. You got these streams, but you don't have this money. You've got this, you're in this video, or you into the UK, but whoever you're working with is not giving you your fair share. There's this pressure for these black males. How do you remove yourself from personalizing your experience in a relationship that was said to be abusive, right? And look at things from that level, from that lens, that actually black males are going through it,
He was going through it, may his soul rest in peace. And
about City.
Yes. And, we had broken up a long time ago, and I think there's a lot of pressure in being, a young black male. Sometimes you get into the wrong things. Sometimes you're pressured. You're always put in a corner on the daily, and it would be unfair of me to do that, because I wouldn't have been in that relationship if I never loved the person at some point, or that person wasn't good to me at some point. But I have brothers. I had conversations with him about his, mental health, and this was after we had broken up, and his own, things he had to fight. And, sometimes it's just, there's some truth in the saying that people are good, but they're just not good together. And I think that was the case with that. But I mean, just having brothers and people around me, and it's just like, why is it that, it's almost like the male black child is targeted, in one sense or another, whether it's to keep up with the Hamptons or, like you're saying, like how aren't the views translating into this? And the black male child is dreaming. He dreams a lot. He wants a lot for himself, but a lot of things are not within reach. Yeah. So I could never personalize that. That was a place in a space in my life that I learned a lot of things, good and bad. But he was in turmoil, just like, a lot of the other young men who looked up to him. So I really would like some kind of an intervention program to be created to target the male black child. And I know there's one called Khulikane, I think, but we need more.
I mean, and when we do talk about an individual like City, not only it was City from the hood, but City is under the shadow of his brother, his intelligent father, I mean, I'm sure you've met him also.
Yeah.
And then it's just remove all those things, but then it's just the aspirations of like being around the other young guys who are like him. But then you got to take this into the hood, into the city, the north, where things are appropriately cool in the north. Yeah. And then you got to move that from the north and you got to take it to the world, And there's this pressure because just coming out of this hood alone, just the pressures are literally like are hard, right? As a black male, and the expectations, it's like you go to your friend in the north because now that's like these worlds are connecting, like how Africa's connected to Nigeria, Kenya, Ghana. Like the suburban kid literally wants to be in the hood kid. So the hood kid literally sees what's in the suburban and he goes, I wanted to do this for my family, for myself. It's that pressure. And then there's this industry that creates this facade where the guy in the burb can, because he's financially sorted, he just needs to probably just sort of his mental stuff, He's financially sorted, so he can wait for this money or he doesn't need to get this money ASAP. But you thinking that like, yo, there's the route there to get the money, but the money is so slow. And you're going through that frustration and it's that cycle, It all boils down to mental health in the end, but like it cuts differently based on where you come from. And you kind of walked that path, you know what I mean?
For me, it's like I said, I think I've just gotten to a point of self-actualization where I know what I have, I know what I don't have. And I'm okay with it, and I'm okay with using, the latter to fuel myself. And that's not necessarily the conversation with everybody else. We live in such a vain world, and everyone's just trying to show up. The clubs don't make it any easier. I mean, look what they're doing out at the clubs, guys. I never thought I'd see 100,000 rand bill for alcohol, And these are boys who want to be the big boys, and their girls want to be around the big boys. And like you're saying, it's this whole cyclic thing that carries on and on and on. And the girls before us have been through it. We know the first slay queens in this country, and they're young girls who are younger than me who are following it. Like I said, it's an economic struggle.
I want to talk coming from Leondale or like at home or whatever. For me, just to be in a club in Sandton is a thing.
I'm telling you.
Now if I find out that VIP they're spending 100,000, that's going to fuck up my mind.
I'm telling you. And I know, I don't want this to come out but I do believe that, boys have it really hard. Boys have it really hard. I actually heard a story about a guy who took out a loan to take a girl out to a certain club. And I just wondered what he did the next week, to pay it back. But can you imagine that amount of pressure for you to decide to do something like that? Not even for your studies, but just to be able to show up. It's a crazy world we live in.
Men are under pressure in a social instance. They're under pressure as husbands or partners in relationship, Especially, and when we say black men, especially black men, because the economy has not been built for black men to lead it, You know, black men can do well, but they can't lead. It's because of how the economy has been structured. It's the white man that runs the world and makes everybody jump, including black white women too. You know what I mean? And people don't know this. It's the white man. The white man literally controls everything, and we puppets.
Yep.
You know, we on the YouTube platform. It's a white man's platform. You know what I mean? And we puppets on a string. We on post on Instagram. Doesn't matter. It's a white man's platform, and the person that makes the decision for this platform in Africa is probably a group of white men also, that whoever started, a group of white people that trust each other to put us in our places constantly.
Absolutely.
As long as we think we're in control.
And
that's what black men are going through.
Yes.
While black women are going, well, we want to be working in those high positions that you black men are also in, but even those positions...
Do you understand? I was about to say that, because now... and I spoke to someone, I'm not going to mention them because like it's so controversial. But it's almost as if now there's this like weird war between black men and black women, you know, where, okay, the black man is, you know, demonized. The picture of a black man is a criminal and this and that and that. And then, you know, you have the black woman using the structures and the powers that be to further oppress the black man, you know? And I'm not saying that these inequalities, you know, are not there. You know, as black women, you know, we have our struggles there. I mean, we have politics in here, you know? There's so many things that we also go through. But my biggest issue right now is that the black household is disintegrating because we are fighting each other. Oh, you know, how many times have we seen, and I need this to come from a black woman like me, so that you are not judged. How many times have we had women falsely accuse men of gender-based violence and they further withdraw? I remember there was a particular one that happened in the public eye. The person further withdrew, right? How was she dealt with? We all saw it happen. Nobody said anything. The new trend is to use gender-based violence as a way to oppress, as a way, we've weaponized it. It's this new thing. I'm going to destroy you, your career, your face. Because let's be honest, baby boy, like, we're not sure if that, like, didn't happen. It didn't go to court. But every time you see baby boy, I'm sure, because it happens to me, when I see him on stage, I'm like, could he have done it? That's something he's going to have to live with for the rest of his life. So for me, I think we need to really see what's going on. The black household is disintegrating, and black women, you'll be surprised that you're being used in the process.
Black women are being used, and the thing is that black men are not talking also, right? So how does a black woman go, okay, this, and how does a black woman speak about her grievances and be heard? You know what I mean? By a black man also, you know? So it's these things also, it's these things also where black women can go, but I'm not being heard. So let me take a chair, because this is where you'll hear me. You know what I mean? It's those frustrations, but you know, it all comes down to the fact that at the end of the day, there's only a few Sheldons that literally have built something from scratch with legends. Only a few Likaos, only a few, you know, guys who've built things through their own sweat from where we see. And if you think about those guys are similar to the guys who built the banks we have, the guys who built the shoes we have, the Nike. Those guys are similar to those guys, but everything we're wearing is mostly white.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
If I can count like self-made guys, not in the mineral space or world, but self-made guys who've literally created, there's only a few black guys, literally, really only a few. So every other great position that a black person is in is a great position created by a global guy or a white guy. And not to say that like it's a bad position. It's a great position. That's why cancel culture shows that we don't own anything. Cancel culture goes, that's what cancel culture is.
That's
cancel
exactly
culture
what it is.
So the brand one work for you. So cancel culture is
yes, that is so true.
We literally like are so we such we don't even see when we're being controlled. And that's where the war between males and females, even males on males and females, because we don't control. Do you know what I mean? Because if I had to do something that would come out, and let's say I've got a relationship with Likao, I've got a relationship with Theo from Apatu, you know, Theo can go, he can come and go, I'm out, you know, I'm fun. But it's not like Theo would literally go, we don't want to touch you.
Yeah, I know.
But Theo would be like, no, if I had a relationship with you, but you know now, as a guy, I'd probably come, Mara, yeah, Mara, anyway, here are the shoes, whatever. You know, we'd still have those two because you do the responsible thing and go, I don't want to publicly ruin my business but it doesn't mean that I want to publicly ruin your life. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So lento le with the brands so when they publicly ruin our lives also. Do you know what I mean?
Press release and all. Yep.
And that shows that if we have that shows a lack of ownership. And black men are under that pressure. Black men are under that pressure to make sure that did I touch Gigi the right? Or did I? You know what I mean? Let's talk back into the music, man.
Sorry.
You know, you talked about we talked about. Well, I want to just also give you this also. The point of spirituality where you kind of be on your own. The on your own is like, it literally wants to show how committed you are. So on your own, because I speak as a journey, on your own plants the seed of what is your voice in the world. So on your own literally allows you to kind of leave your legacy, you know? So whether it's in with your kids, with children, life, the world, but you cannot leave anything without on your own. So on your own, literally like when you go, I need to get away from the noise. The noise, the first step phase is like noise. And then the second step is the noise that you're gonna create. Because your legacy could also be someone else's noise and distract them.
True.
Because even though we speak about Nike, Google, blah, blah, YouTube, blah, blah, it's a bunch of people who started from on their own. And then they created a noise that like now could be creating a lot of conflict. So it's good in the end of the day, but but like, because we're beings of the world, we're supposed to contribute.
Absolutely.
So on your own allows you to firstly switch off the noise. So you might think that it's sitting with nothing, that's not even it. You know, you're still gonna discover what is your voice overall. Although you can point out GBV, it's just, you're just getting little, but you're still gonna figure out like what it means from a biggest perspective.
Yeah.
So those are the stages of on your own, you know? You're the only artist in my view that I love chatting, by the way, with you. You know, when you listen to Set in Stone, you literally had one theme and it was fun. What was that? I mean, when you come, yo, big bro, I think you're gonna be lyrical. I'm like, but this whole album is a bunch of fun. So
and you even said, are you talking to me? I'm like, I'm talking to you. I'm in a good place.
You set me up for a lyrical album. And then I was like, no, but there's a lot of fun here.
Yeah.
Tell me how you were curating all the songs that you got there, and even the next single that you dropped, which is not on the album, how you kind of separated that from a curation perspective.
Got you. You're right. I was having fun. I'm in a good place. I am working with like one of the most talented producers ever. He's worked with Blackie, he's worked with Mani Badu, Buga Ambitiouz, amazing guy. And I can rap, guys. Like, I really can. Like, I can rap. I just wanted to make nice music and I wanted to challenge myself a lot, because this is like the last, I mean, it is a fun album, but I would like to go into world music. Like world music, still hip hop, but more, I don't know, like more Africa to the world. I don't know why I'm just so happy about being African and like really proud at this point in time in my life. And with Set in Stone, I just wanted to do something I'd never done on the other projects. And that was just like make music. Make music. When people listen to it, there's a fan favorite. There's a soundtrack to anything, whether you're in love, whether you're having fun, whether you're feeling very feisty and like, don't mess with me, then there's George Koch and there's, you know, so different kinds of sounds. And then we obviously had Gedlela with Mr. Smeg and Luan Dlungulu. And that was just, you know, contributing to Yanos. Yanos is something we should be proud of. You know, it's ours. And, you know, the chat about hip hop versus Mapiano is so old for me. And as a creative, I could never decide whether I want to use green or red on my canvas. So I'm going to go and contribute to that. And I was still a rapper on it, and I sang on it, and we collaborated, you know, with Ulwa. And I love what she stands for. She's a young, beautiful Zulu woman, first lady of Nkabi Records, and she's everything I would have liked to be at her age, because she's so confident and so beautiful, and she owns it. And like I said, it took me a long time to get here, you know. So for me, that was just, you know, to say, you know, I sound nice on Yanos. Yanos is actually nice, you know, and I'm not here to decide, you know, or to hang up and say, you know, no more hip hop and this and that. And you know how social media can always misconstrue everything you say. But people should know now, guys. I got on a song with Munada, Fufa. That was one of the biggest songs of my career. Makazi had me on her album, and I had her on Mashonisa as the bonus track with Busiswa. But it's just, I don't want to be boxed in. Like, I'm rapping, I'm making music. I'm not gonna lie and say, ang jive, mang figure somewhere. I dance, I love dancing, you know? I'm one of those girls who watches the how-tos in the Uncle Vinny's, and I love that. This is youth, this is urban culture. I'm not going to like box myself in. So that's basically what it's saying. It's like Gigi to the world. And believe it or not, I'm already working on the next project.
When we look at Gigi the mother, you know, Gigi the artist, Gigi the world music, what do you want to leave? You know, what is the legacy that you want to leave? When people see your face, even if they see a picture of you, what is the thought that you want people to have about you?
No matter how many times I got hit, I got back up. I think for me, that's the biggest thing. I come from a home where, like, East Bars, I'm a tavern, I'm a saloon. We used to have in Orange Farm. And, you know, the business of music, and that, like, no matter how many errors you make, there's always a way to make it right and get things to turn around for the best. Somebody said something, and it was like so, and sometimes I don't even realize how consistent I've been, you know, no matter what turbulence I was facing in my personal or my private life, my personal or my public life. But I just want to be remembered for that. Like somebody who unapologetically went out to do whatever they wanted to do, you know. And now I'm doing other business things outside of music. But music is my first love. And I just want to show young girls that you can make money out of music, whether you're in front of the camera or behind it. And you can make that money as, you know, an independent business. Like, I just want people to, yeah, man, like, you're a business. Gigi's now a brand. I don't even think I'm just a musician anymore. I'm now a brand, and my name is bigger than some of my songs, and that makes me very happy. The fact that, you know, somebody can say, Gigi Lamayne, oh, is it that girl? It's no more the ice cream girl. I used to hate that, you know? Now at least they're calling me other things. But the girl who definitely got up every time she got knocked down. Yeah.
Gee, I think I'm being privileged to see your career from the beginning. Before all this, you know, when you were just a rapper, I always remember my first impression when I found out, like, your academic roots, you know, and for me, I always believed that you had so much promise. Me and you have had our heart-to-hearts where I'm like, what you doing? You know, how you go to, you know, we've had like conversations like that. And I'm like, but who are you? What do you want to do? What do you want to take out there? You know, we've had those conversations.
Yeah,
you know?
No, you don't hold back. But look how it turned out now, hey?
You know, because we believe in people, one thing that I also learned is that it doesn't happen the way you think it's going to happen. If people keep on finding themselves, it happens the way it needs to happen for them. And you're a prime example of that. You're a woman. You're not a girl anymore. You're not that young girl anymore. You become a woman, and you've gone through it, everything. everything, like abuse, suicide, industry, wrong record label. Like, you've gone through it, self-hate, self-doubt, insecurity, I want to be everything because I'm not sure what is the right thing. You've been through it, spirituality, finding yourself. You've been through it. I hope you can take all those things as affirmation and validation, and all those whips as strength, because someone else would have failed. Someone else would have died if they tried. Even, someone else would have cried. Maybe you did cry, have cried a couple of times. Yeah, someone else would have said, "I can't do it." Because most of my relatives are in the hood or are in spaces where you come from. I want you to keep going, You represent something that a lot of girls can't represent, not because of choice, It's just because of, it's unfortunately, it's just where they come from. You represent something that a lot of girls can't represent.
Thank you.
You know what I mean?
Thank you.
And doing what you're doing, a lot of girls can't do it also the way you do it, from the talent side. So don't ever forget that. You are carrying every ghetto girl, in our Joburg townships. Ububa mixed back. I could see my nieces in you sometimes, and I'm like, oh my God.
Shout out. Yeah.
But I wish, keep going, G. Keep going. You're blessed, you're a star, and you're still gonna meet other challenges. But one thing you need to remember is that you always know how to get up.
Absolutely. Thank you.
The album is out there. I think more than just music, it's set in stone that you're not going anywhere, even in life, and your energy is not going anywhere.
Thank you.
Keep working and focus on yourself. You look left, right, just you. Absolutely. You are the power.
Absolutely. Thank
and
you.
your next thing in the silence is finding, so what is my voice? It could take 5 years, could take 3, it takes time. But as long as now you found silence, you find my voice in silence. You gotta clean everything out. I wish you all the luck, and I got a lot of love for you.
Thank you.
And keep doing what you're doing. I never even mentored by the OGs, Pro Kid, Cooley.
I met Slikour when I was 15. Now I'm such an old lady.
You've been mentored by the OGs. You are like,
crazy.
Come on, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Thank you.
You're gonna have a nice book.
A nice book? Yeah, maybe a biopic.
Well, yeah, it could be. You're gonna have a nice book. Gigi Lamayne, ladies and gentlemen, Set in Stone. Go listen to the album. Go listen to all her albums. You give your energy. You give us what you were going through in all your albums. Go listen to all her albums and see how a person keeps on coming back and fighting. You keep fighting for your happiness.
Yes.
Set in Stone, we out.
Broadcast live